why should we vote? It's so rigged. Nothing's going to happen. My vote's not going to matter. That is 100% not true. And I can show you it's not true because the Democrats don't believe it's true. Because if the Democrats believed that they had a solid, handle on the election, they wouldn't have switched out Joe Biden. They would have just let Joe Biden win and then, switched it out after the election. But they know that that's a concern. They're trying to get as many illegal aliens registered to vote as possible because they know they don't have a handle on it. And so if they're freaking out doing all kinds of blatantly illegal activity for the purpose of trying to continue to manufacture the outcome of the election, then we need to take it as, okay, they know they don't have it. But yes, I'm currently under 9 felony indictments in the state of Arizona. So
is that
I had the audacity to tell everybody that the election was stolen.
That's way too early in the interview to say
yeah,
that because now we're deleted. I don't know if we're ever going to make it to minute 4 of this interview and this conversation because apparently you still can't talk about that.
Yeah, people are funny, but I think it's becoming more accepted. I think, very few people look at Joe Biden and think that he was the most popular president in U.S. history. But there's been so much lawfare surrounding it. My life is a great example of that. And so many questions that I think people have tried to stay away from it and say, we're focused on 2024, which is great. We should be focused on 2024. And certainly we're less than 2 months away. So yes, 2024 is the focus.
But
it doesn't mean I don't have lingering effects from my time in 2020.
A little bit of resentment.
I'm getting over the resentment. But I still have to deal with it. So.
And I apologize. I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing because it's serious.
It's a very serious thing. I mean, what else can you do about it at this point?
It's like nervous laughter. I don't know how to handle it.
It's going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. They I don't think the Arizona Attorney General really has a case against me or any of the other defendants. I don't think any crime occurred, but we'll see how it goes.
Because there were, after 2020, and I remember in 2020, I was watching the news. And because I'm in Georgia, I'm watching what's going on in the Georgia election.
Yeah.
And Trump is winning, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, there's a water main leak. I'm like, okay, I guess that could happen.
Sure.
And then a couple hours later, like, oh, just kidding. There was a leaky toilet bowl.
Yeah.
And everyone comes back, and all of a sudden he's losing. I was like, that doesn't seem right.
It doesn't seem right, does it?
But you weren't allowed to ask.
You weren't allowed to ask. You were ridiculed and just demonized if you dared to say, hey, wait a second, why did we stop counting? Why did it take 4 additional days? Why couldn't we have a result on election night? Which is, all of it is pertinent to what we're about to face in less than 2 months, right? Is making sure that we don't have the same mistakes and same repeats and, they don't try to do the same thing in 2024 as they did in 2020. But yeah, I think anybody with half a brain could look at what happened in 2020 and go, that's not right. That is not right. So yeah, one of my favorite narratives that they said was, there's no evidence of election fraud. Well, you just described evidence of election fraud. It might not be conclusive. It might be circumstantial, but from before we got the election result, we've had evidence of problems with the election. So, it's never been an honest narrative. I don't think so.
A lot of the previous Trump indictments, which all of a sudden a lot of them just disappeared and they dropped them, by the way. They said that there was not outcome determinate fraud.
Right.
That was the phrase they used, outcome determinate. I'm like, okay, you say outcome determinate fraud, then how much fraud was there? Because if you're going to say something is outcome determinate,
right,
then that means you know how much there was and how much there needed to have been to be outcome determinate.
Now, Matt, you're asking appropriate questions and you're coming up with reasonable conclusions, and you have to stop that. You can't think for yourself. You can't ask real questions, and you can't, actually try to search for the truth because they don't like that.
But that's crazy, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, of course it's crazy. I mean, I wouldn't have thought we were going to be here where we are. Certainly where I am. I wouldn't have thought they would unleash hell to try to destroy my life. But okay, here we are. I mean, I haven't changed my position.
Keep doing what you do. I
love
it.
I think they thought that we would be easier to break. And so I'm proud of. I'm proud of where I'm at. Not that I'm proud to be under indictment, but I'm proud that I've stuck to my guns and I've maintained my integrity. And I think a lot of other people have. Not everybody has. We've seen it really is the great exposure on the conservative side, right? Of like who's willing to say the hard things, and I think we can see who those people are.
Because some people are, after the indictments, are going, oh, just kidding, we're going to comply, we're going to work with them. Just kidding, someone told us to, and they are flipping.
Yeah,
really
a lot
quickly.
of people have flipped, and I get
that's
it.
Pressure from just
for
fear
sure.
of...
Fear and just not wanting to deal with it. Like, I get it. Like, you're just like, God, I know I didn't do anything wrong, and I know I'm going to get out of this, and I know, I'm not going to be found guilty of anything. I didn't do anything wrong, but the process is the punishment, right? And they want to punish you for really just standing your ground. I don't even want to say opposing them, because I wasn't even just for standing your ground and speaking out. They want to turn this nation into a one-party state. Of course, they'll keep both Democrats and Republicans because they want the illusion of two parties, but they want to have one-party control, and they haven't successfully been able to do that. They're trying, and we can see pieces of where they tried to do that, but thankfully they have not been successful at that yet. So they can try.
Let's get into a little bit of previous election stuff. So there were election cases brought up in Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada.
Right.
Those were the big ones. Nothing happened.
Right. Well, yeah, nothing happened in a timely fashion.
Correct.
For sure. Now we're seeing a lot of stuff, particularly in Georgia.
Yes.
Congratulations, your state's doing great. Where, 4 years later.
Good job, guys.
4 years later, it's coming out. So, but Georgia's done a really great job of revealing that there were significant problems in 2020. Regardless of how the election was conducted in a manner that was inconsistent with Georgia law, and we're seeing that play out now. So the key for Joe Biden's victory was to make sure that there was no avenue for Donald Trump to properly challenge what occurred in 2020 in a manner fast enough to actually get the election corrected. Because history is showing us, and will show us further in the future, that there were significant, I would say, outcome determinative problems. Irregularities with 2020. But we were never able to get through the court system fast enough in the amount of time needed to make that change. And so now they don't care. Now it's 4 years later. And so they're like, okay, all the information can come out. And we're seeing a lot of it come out now. So
do you think that they're letting the information come out now? Because what it does is creates distrust within the election system. And a lot of people, especially when I say, oh, you got to go vote. And majority of people will say, like, why do I need to vote?
Yeah. Because
it's rigged anyway, or they're going to steal it anyway. And I get this a lot.
Yeah. Well, I have an answer for that. And that, to answer your question, that could be part of it. I think there's probably 1,000 different motivations by, everybody involved. Everyone's got their own perspective or their own purpose for doing things. But as far as why people should vote, and yes, it is very important to vote. It's important to get other people to vote, and it's important to actually be a part of the process, not just voting, but knock on doors. You can help with get out the vote if you like doing that stuff, or more importantly, the stuff that's more important to me is get involved in the actual election process. Work for your county. They've got seasonal workers. If they might not be hiring anymore because it's so close to the election, but maybe check your county or check your county GOP and get involved in the process. It's so important. But as far as why should we vote? It's so rigged. Nothing's going to happen. My vote's not going to matter. That is 100% not true, and I can show you it's not true because the Democrats don't believe it's true. Because if the Democrats believed that they had a solid handle on the election, they wouldn't have switched out Joe Biden. They would have just let Joe Biden win and then, switched it out after the election. But they know that that's a concern. They're trying to get as many illegal aliens registered to vote as possible because they know they don't have a handle on it. And so if they're freaking out doing all kinds of blatantly illegal activity for the purpose of trying to continue to manufacture the outcome of the election, then we need to take it as, okay, they know they don't have it done. They don't have it solid. There's certain areas that, of course, I would like to see cleaned up. But I personally do not believe a couple things. I don't believe that they have it 100% locked down, and I don't believe that they believe they have it 100% locked down. So to me, the least you can do is get out and vote.
So by them mobilizing, trying to get more votes, when we think that they already know what they're doing, the fact that they're mobilizing proves that the votes actually do matter.
They do.
Yeah.
They do, yeah.
Huh. Interesting way to frame that. I can see that, though.